Chapter 41. Fraternal Love. When a devotee is permanently situated in devotional service, and by different symptoms of ecstasy he has developed and matured a fraternal mellow or flavor in relationship with the Lord, and by different symptoms of ecstasy he has developed and matured a fraternal mellow or flavor in relationship with the personality of Godhead, at that time his feeling is called fraternal love of Godhead. The impetus for such fraternal love of God is God Himself. When one is liberated and discovers his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, the Lord Himself becomes the impetus for increasing fraternal love. The eternal associates of the Lord in Vrindavan have described this as follows, quote, "The Lord, Hari, whose bodily hue is like the Indranila jewel, whose smiling is as beautiful as the kunda flower, whose silk dress is as yellow as golden autumn foliage, whose chest is beautified with garlands of flowers, and was always playing upon his flute. This enemy of the Aga demon is always attracting our hearts by wandering about Vrindavan." End quote. There are similar statements of fraternal love expressed outside the jurisdiction of Vrindavan. When the sons of Pandu, headed by Maharaj Yudhisthira, saw Krsna in his four-handed form on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, holding his conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower, they completely forgot themselves, became merged in the ocean of nectarine happiness. It shows how the sons of Pandu, King Yudhisthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahadeva, were all caught up in fraternal love for Krishna. Sometimes the different names, forms, paraphernalia, and transcendental qualities provoke fraternal love. For instance, Krishna's nice dress, the all-auspicious symptoms on his body, his strongly built body, his knowledge of different languages, his learned teachings in the Bhagavad Gita, his uncommon genius in all fields of endeavor, his exhibition of expert knowledge, his mercy, his chivalry, his behavior as a conjugal lover, his intelligence, his forgiveness, his attraction for all kinds of men, his opulence, and his happiness, all provoke fraternal love. The impetus to fraternal love upon seeing the associates of Krishna in Vrindavan is also very natural, for their personal bodily features, their qualities and dress are all equal to Krishna's. These associates are always happy in their service to Krishna, and they are generally known as Vayasyas, or friends of the same age. These Vayasyas are fully confident of protection by Krishna. Devotees sometimes pray, quote, "Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the Vayasyas of Krishna, who are firmly convinced of Krishna's friendship and protection, and whose devotion to Krishna is ever fixed. They're fearless, and on a level equal with Krishna, they discharge their transcendental loving devotional service." End quote. Such eternal Vayasyas are also found beyond the jurisdiction of Vrindavan, in places such as Dwarka and Hastinapur. Except for Vrindavan, all the places of Krishna's pastimes are called Puras, towns. Mathura and Hastinapura, the capital of the Kurus, are both Puras. Personalities like Arjuna, Bhima, Draupadi, and Sridham Brahman are counted among Krishna's fraternal devotees in the Puras. How the sons of Pandu, the Pandavas, enjoy Krishna's association is described as follows, quote, "When Krishna arrived in Indraprastha, the capital of the Kurus, Maharaj Yudhisthira immediately came out to smell the flavor of Krishna's head." End quote. It is the Vedic custom that superiors smell the heads of their subordinates when the subordinates offer respect to the superior by touching his feet. Similarly, Arjuna and Bhima embraced Krishna with great affection, and the two younger brothers, namely Nakula and Sahadeva, touched the lotus feet of Krishna with tears in their eyes and offered their respects. In this way, all the 5 Pandava brothers enjoyed the fraternal friendship of Krishna in transcendental mellow. Of the 5 Pandavas, Arjuna is the most intimately connected with Krishna. He has a nice bow in his hand, which is called Gandiva. His thighs are compared with the trunks of elephants, and his eyes are always reddish. When Krishna and Arjuna are together on a chariot, they become celestial beauties, pleasing to the eyes of everyone. It is said that once Arjuna was lying in his bed with his head upon Krishna's lap, and was talking and joking with Krishna in great relaxation, and was enjoying Krishna's company with smiling and great satisfaction. As far as the Vaisyas, friends in Vrindavan, are concerned, they become greatly distressed when they cannot see Krishna even for a moment. There is the following prayer by a devotee for the Vaisyas in Vrindavan, quote, "All glories to Krishna's Vaisyas, who are just like Krishna in their age, qualities, pastimes, dress, and beauty. They are accustomed to playing on their flutes made of palm leaves, and they all have buffalo horn bugles, ornamented like Krishna's, with jewels such as Indranila, and with gold and coral. They're always jubilant like Krishna. May these glorious companions of Krishna always protect us." End quote. The Vaisyas in Vrindavan are in such intimate friendship with Krishna that sometimes they think themselves as good as Krishna. Here is an instance of such friendly feeling. When Krishna was holding up Govardhan Hill with his left hand, the Vaisyas said, quote, "My dear friend, you have been standing for the last 7 days and nights without any rest. This is very troublesome for us, because we see that you have undertaken a severely laborious task. We think, therefore, that you need not continue to stand in that way holding the hill. You can just transfer it on to Sudama's hand. We're very much aggrieved to see you in this position. If you think that Sudama is not able to support Govardhan Hill, then at least you should change hands. Instead of supporting it with your left hand, please transfer it to your right hand so that we can give your left hand a massage." End quote. This is an instance of intimacy showing how much the Vaisyas considered themselves to be equal to Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, 12th chapter, 10th verse, Sukadeva Goswami tells King Parikshit, quote, "My dear King, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the learned Transcendentalist. He's the supreme happiness for the impersonalist. He's the supreme worshipful deity for the devotee. And he is just an ordinary boy to one who is under the spell of Maya. And just imagine, these coward boys are now playing with the Supreme Person as though they're on an equal level. By this, anyone can understand that these boys must have accumulated heaps of the results of pious activities to enable them to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in such intimate friendship." End quote. There is a description of Krishna's feeling for his Vaisyas in Vrindavan. He once said to Balaram, quote, "My dear brother, when my companions were being devoured by the Aghasura, hot tears poured down from my eyes, and as they were washing my cheeks, my dear elder brother, for at least one moment, I completely lost myself." End quote. Within Gokula, Krishna's Vaisyas are generally divided into 4 groups. 1. Well-wishers. 2. Friends. 3. Confidential friends. And 4. Intimate friends. Krishna's well-wisher friends are a little bit older than Krishna, and they have some parental affection for him. Because of their being older than Krishna, they always try to protect him from any harm. As such, they sometimes bear weapons, so they can chastise any mischievous person who wants to do harm to Krishna. Counted amongst the well-wisher friends are Subhadra. There's a footnote next to Subhadra. The footnote reads, not to be confused with Krishna's sister of the same name. Mandali Bhadra, Bhadravardhana, Gobhata, Yaksha, Indrabhata, Bhadrangga, Virabhadra, Mahaguna, Vijaya, and Balabhadra. They are older than Krishna and are always thinking of his welfare. One of the elderly friends said, quote, "My dear Mandali Bhadra, why are you wielding a shining sword as though you were running towards Aristashura to kill him? My dear Baladev, why are you unnecessarily bearing that heavy plow? My dear Vijaya, don't be unnecessarily agitated. My dear Bhadravardhana, there's no need to make these threatening motions. If you will all look more closely, you will see that it is only a thundercloud upon Govardhan Hill. It is not the Aristashura in the shape of a bull, as you have imagined." End quote. These older, well-wishing friends of Krishna imagined a large cloud to be the Aristashura, appearing in the shape of a huge bull. In the midst of their excitement, one of them ascertained that it was actually only a cloud on Govardhan Hill. He therefore informed the others not to take the trouble of worrying about Krishna, because there was no present danger from Aristashura. Among the well-wisher friends, Mandali Bhadra and Balabhadra are the chiefs. Mandali Bhadra is described as follows. His complexion is yellowish, and his dress is very attractive. He always carries a stick of various colors. He wears a peacock feather on his head, and always looks very beautiful. Mandali Bhadra's attitude is revealed in his statement, quote, "My dear friends, our beloved Krishna is now very tired from working with the cows in the pasturing grounds and from traveling all over the forest. I can see he's very fatigued. Let me massage his head silently while he's taking rest in his house, and you, Subala, you just massage his thighs." End quote. One devotee described the personal beauty of Baladev as follows, quote, "Let me take shelter of the lotus feet of Balaram, whose beauty is enhanced by the earrings touching his cheeks. His face is decorated with tilak made from kasturi, which is musk, and his broad chest is decorated with a garland of gunja, small conch shells. His complexion is as white as an autumn cloud. He wears garments of blue color. His voice is very grave. His arms are very long, touching his thighs, and he has shown his great strength by killing Pralambashura demon. Let me take shelter of this chivalrous Balaram." And there's a footnote next to Balaram, and it reads, "Balaram and Baladev are different names for the same expansion of Krishna. He is Krishna's elder brother." Baladev's affection for Krishna is illustrated in this statement to Subala, quote, "My dear friend, please inform Krishna not to go to Kalia's lake today. Today is his birthday, so I wish to go along with Mother Yasoda to bathe him. Tell him he should not leave the house today." End quote. This shows how Balaram, Krishna's elder brother, took care of Krishna with parental love within the scope of fraternal affection. Friends who were younger than Krishna, who were always attached to him and gave him all kinds of service, are called ordinary friends or simple friends. Such ordinary friends are called shakas, and the names of some shakas are Vishala, Rishabha, Ojasvi, Devaprastha, Varutapa, Maranda, Kushumapida, Manibandha, and Karandam. All of these Shaka friends of Krishna sought only to serve him. Sometimes some of them would rise early in the morning and immediately go to Krishna's place and wait at the door to see Krishna and to accompany him to the pasturing grounds. In the meantime, Krishna would be dressed by Mother Yasoda. When she would see a boy standing at the door, she would call him, quote, "Well, Vishala, why are you standing there? Come here." End quote. So with the permission of Mother Yasoda, he would immediately enter the house. And while Mother Yasoda was dressing Krishna, he would try to help put on Krishna's ankle bells, and Krishna would jokingly strike him with his flute. Then Mother Yasoda would call, quote, "Krishna, what is this? Why are you teasing your friend?" End quote. And Krishna would laugh, and the friend would also laugh. These are some of the activities of Krishna's sakhas. Sometimes the sakhas would take care of the cows who were going hither and thither and they would tell Krishna, quote, "Your cows are going off here and there," end quote, and Krishna would thank them. Sometimes when Krishna and his Sakhas went to the pasturing ground, Kamsa would send a demon to kill Krishna. Therefore, almost every day there was a fight with some different kind of demon. After fighting with a demon, Krishna would feel fatigued, the hairs on his head would be scattered, and the Sakhas would immediately come and try to relieve him in different ways. Some friends would say, quote, "My dear Vishala, please take this fan of lotus leaves and fan Krishna so that he may feel some comfort. Varutapa, you just brush the scattered hairs on Krishna's head which have fallen upon his face. Vrishabha, don't talk unnecessarily. Immediately massage Krishna's body. His arms have become tired from fighting and wrestling with that demon. Oh, just see how our friend Krishna has become tired." End quote. These are some of the examples of the treatment given to Krishna by the Sakhas. One of the Sakhas, known as Devaprastha, is described as follows. He's very strong, a ready scholar, and is very expert in playing ball. He wears a white dress, and he ties his hair into a bunch with a rope. Whenever there is a fight between Krishna and the demons, Devaprastha is the first to help, and he fights just like an elephant. One of the gopis once said to her friend, quote, "My dear beautiful friend, when Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda, was taking rest within the cave of a hill, he was keeping his head on the arms of Sridham, and he was putting his left hand on Dama's chest. Taking this opportunity, Devaprastha, out of strong affection for Krishna, immediately began to massage his legs." End quote. Such are the activities of Krishna's friends out on the pasturing grounds. The more confidential friends are called Priyashakas and are almost Krishna's age. Because of their very confidential friendship, their behavior is only on the basis of pure friendship. Other friends' behavior is on the ground of paternal love or servitude, but the basic principle of the confidential friends is simply friendship on an equal level. Some confidential friends are as follows: Sridham, Sudam, Dama, Vasudam, Kinkini, Stoka Krishna, Amsu, Bhadrasena, Vilasina, Pundarika, Vitanka, Kalavinka. By their various activities in different pastimes, all of these friends used to give transcendental pleasure to Krishna. The behavior of these confidential friends is described by a friend of Radharani who told Radharani, quote, "My dear graceful Radharani, your intimate friend Krishna is also served by his intimate boyfriends. Some of them cut jokes with him in mild voices and please him very much by this." End quote. For example, Krishna had one Brahmin friend whose name was Madhumangala. The boy would joke by playing the part of a greedy Brahmin. Whenever the friends ate, he would eat more than all the others, especially ladus, of which he was very fond. Then, after eating more ladus than anyone else, Madhumangala would still not be satisfied, and he would say to Krishna, quote, "If you give me one more ladu, then I'll be pleased to give you my blessings, so that your friend Radharani will be very much pleased with you." End quote. The Brahmins are supposed to give blessings to the Vaishyas, farming and mercantile class. And Krishna presented himself as the son of Maharaj Nanda, a Vaishya. So the Brahmin boy was right in giving blessings to Krishna. Thus Krishna was very pleased by his friend's blessings, and he would supply him with more and more ladus. Sometimes a confidential friend would come before Krishna and embrace him with great affection and love. Another friend would then come up from the rear and cover Krishna's eyes with his hands. Krishna would always feel very happy by such dealings with his confidential friends. Out of all these confidential friends, Sridham is considered to be the chief. Sridham used to put on a yellow-colored dress. He would carry a buffalo horn, and his turban was reddish copper color. His bodily complexion was blackish, and around his neck there was a nice garland. He would always challenge Krishna in joking friendship, and let us pray to Sridham to bestow his mercy upon us. Sometimes Sridham used to address Krishna, quote, "Oh, you are so cruel that you left us alone on the bank of the Yamuna, and we were all mad from not seeing you there. Now it's our great fortune that we are able to see you here. If you want to pacify us, you must embrace each one of us with your arms. But believe me, my dear friend, a moment's absence from you creates great havoc, not only for us, but for the cows also. Everything becomes disarranged. We become mad after you." End quote. There are other friends who are still more confidential. They're called Priyanarma, or intimate friends. Counted among Priyanarma friends are Subala, Arjuna, Gandharva, Vashanta, and Ujjvala. There was talk among the friends of Radharani, the gopis, about these most intimate friends. One gopi addressed Radharani thusly, quote, "My dear Krishangi, delicate one, just see how Subal is whispering your message into Krishna's ear, how he is delivering the confidential letter of Shamadasi silent into Krishna's hand, and how he is delivering the betel nuts prepared by Palika into Krishna's mouth, and how he is decorating Krishna with the garland prepared by Taraka. Did you know, my dear friend, that all these most intimate friends of Krishna are always engaged in his service in this way?" End quote. Out of many intimate Priyanarmas, Subala and Ujjvala are considered to be the most prominent. Subala's body is described as follows. His complexion is just like molten gold. He is very, very dear to Krishna. He always has a garland around his neck, and he wears yellow clothing. His eyes are just like lotus flower petals, and he's so intelligent that by his talking and his moral instructions, all the other friends take the highest pleasure. Let us all offer our respectful obeisances unto Krishna's friend, Subala. The degree of intimacy shared by Krishna and Subala can be understood by the fact that the talks between them were so confidential that no one else could understand what they were saying. The description of Ujjvala, another intimate friend, is given as follows. Ujjvala always wears some garment of orange color, and the movements of his eyes are always very restless. He likes to decorate himself with all kinds of flowers. His bodily hue is almost like Krishna's, and on his neck there is always a necklace of pearls. He is always very dear to Krishna. Let us all worship Ujjvala, the most intimate friend of Krishna. About the confidential service of Ujjvala, this statement is to be found addressed by Radharani to one of her friends. Quote, "My dear friend, it is impossible for me to keep my prestige. I wanted to avoid talking to Krishna any more, but just see, there again is his friend Ujjvala coming to me with his canvassing work. His entreaties are so powerful, it's very difficult for a gopi to resist her love for Krishna, even though she may be very bashful, devoted to her family duties, and most faithful to her husband." End quote. Following is a statement by Ujjvala, showing his jubilant nature. Quote, "My dear Krishna, O king of Agashura, O killer of Agashura, you have extended your loving affairs so much that you can be compared to the great ocean, which is without limitations. At the same time, the young girls of the world, who are all searching after the perfect lover, have become just like rivers running into this ocean. Under the circumstance, all these rivers of young girls may try to divert their courses to some other place, but at the end they must come unto you." End quote. Amongst the groups of different friends of Krishna, some are well known from various scriptures, and some are well known by popular tradition. There are three divisions amongst Krishna's friends. Some are eternally in friendship with Krishna, some are elevated demigods, and some are perfected devotees. In all of these groups, there are some who by nature are fixed in Krishna's service and are always engaged in giving counsel. Some of them are very fond of joking and naturally cause Krishna to smile by their words. Some of them are by nature very simple, and by their simplicity they please Lord Krishna. Some of them create wonderful situations by their activities, apparently against Krishna. Some of them are very talkative, always arguing with Krishna and creating a debating atmosphere. And some of them are very gentle and give pleasure to Krishna by their sweet words. All of these friends are very intimate with Krishna, and they show expertise in their different activities, their aim always being to please Krishna.